Hi, this is John Whitney, and this is a video banjo rim bending tutorial. This is about bending rims such as what you're seeing on the banjos here from white oak using steam and a bending form and a compression strap. The steps that I'll be reviewing are pre-soaking the wood, steaming the wood, bending the wood, and then letting it cool. This is our UIBA meeting from July 2018, UIBA being Utah Instrument Builders Association, where I'm demonstrating bending the oak with a simple compression strap and with the help from some friends at the meeting. As I bend this around, Kevin is ready to pour some hot water on any areas that seem to be too stiff, and he's doing that right now. Just pouring the hot water that was used for steaming the wood just on this last little bit of the wood as it's being bent around. Turns out that probably wasn't absolutely necessary, as in the future segments you'll see that I am able to bend the entire strip without pouring any extra hot water on it. But I've got some a little more sophisticated machinery to help me on the subsequent ones. So this is a piece of pipe, 4-inch ABS pipe, about 4.5 to 5 feet tall, and it's capped at the bottom permanently and at the top with a removable rubber cap, and I'm using this pipe to soak the wood that I'm going to bend, pre-soak the wood, and it's a mixture of water and fabric softener that I'm using to soak it in. And actually it's been in this pipe for about 5 days. As you can see, the rubber cap is bulging, so it has built up some pressure in there. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. However, it is a very hot day today, 96 degrees right now, and which is great weather for bending wood. And I'm going to take the wood out and see what it looks like. It's actually been soaking in there for 5 days because we bent another piece 5 days ago, and we didn't get a chance to bend this piece, so I just left it in to soak. This is a piece of oak that has been pre-soaked, and you'll notice that at this end there's a hole. There's a hole there that I'm going to use to hang it, and at this end I've cut a scarf joint in it, half of a scarf joint, I guess, and that's where the ends will be joined together once it's bent into a circle. Here's what I'm using to steam this wood. There's an old pressure cooker. It's got a pretty sizable hole cut into the top of it, and on top of that I've glued with using JB Weld an old aluminum saucepan lid, and that serves basically as a base for the steam pipe, and also as the water condenses in the steam pipe, it'll run down the sides of the pipe and into that lid, which acts as a funnel to get it back into the boiling water, so you can save a little bit of water. You don't have to worry so much about running out of water. And I started this water boiling on our stove inside, and I brought it out here, and it's on a little Coleman camping stove, propane fired, as you can see the blue tank over there. And then the whole thing is supported by this kind of a makeshift tripod put together with baling wire and chewing gum. No, not really chewing gum, but there is baling wire there, you can see. And I've got the cap on it, and in the cap, through a hole in the cap, I've stuck a thermometer. So what we're going to do is check the temperature on that. And it looks like it's up to about 180 degrees. So when it gets up to 200 degrees or so, or at least above 190, we're going to start timing, and we're going to cook this wood for about 20 to 25 minutes before we try to bend it. This is my bending machine or form. Consists of this round form here. It's made out of 2x lumber, a couple layers of it, so it's 3 inches thick, about 12 inches in diameter, and that's the inner diameter of the rims that I'll be bending. This metal strap here is it's aluminum. It is the what we call the tension strap or the compression strap, and that keeps the wood from, it supports the back of the wood as it's being bent around in the circle so it doesn't crack. And then this lever on top is the bending lever, and I'm going to flip this over so I can kind of describe the machinery of it. First of all, it's got this axle here. It pivots on that. As you can see, it's not fastened to it in any way, it just is used as a pivot. But this is the heart of the thing. It's a roller tensioning, spring-loaded tensioning device. So what the aim of this is to roll along the metal strap. What we do is it should keep that metal strap tight up against the wood. And those, there are 2 other screws here, the long carriage bolts, that basically hold it all together and keep it from flying apart. And of course, all of that is bolted on to the 2x4 that's the lever with some lag bolts. And anyway, it wasn't, you know, any technical miracle to produce this. I just have a few basic tools, and drill press being one of the most the one that really helped a lot. And some, I had to tap this piece of metal here for the 4 bolts or rods, the sliding rods, I guess you call them. And that's really about it. Drilled a bunch of holes, cut the metal with a hacksaw. No big deal, but that should give you an idea if you want to make one yourself of how I did mine. And we're going to see how it works as we try to bend some wood pretty soon. I also wanted to mention how this whole form is clamped to the table here. Notice that the clamps are recessed below the bottom of the circular form. Circular form is basically screwed onto these 2x4s here. And then those are screwed onto this third 2x4, and one on the other side, and so the clamps are below the surface, so when I swing the wood around past them, it's not going to have any interference from those clamps that are holding it down to the table. Now comes the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm going to remove the slat that's been steaming for about 20, 22, 25 minutes, somewhere in there, from the steam chamber. And there it is, taking the cap off there, and now I'm pulling the slat up with the hook that I used to hang it. Putting the hook down, and now I'm inserting that into the bending machine and starting the bending process here, making sure that that scarf joint is all the way up into the end of the compression strap, and I roll the roller lever around the wood, and it's bending that wood as it goes very nicely, I might add. Don't hear any cracking wood sounds or anything like that. Now I'm about at the end here. I'm going to get a clamp and clamp that off so that it can't unroll on me, and then we'll leave that to dry. Actually, I'm going to adjust that clamp a little bit, move it around so that it actually gets as much of that end as we can. Now, you can't always get the whole end of the wood bent, but we can move it around and get another inch or so
bent here. And so there I'm tightening it up again. So that little end, the rest of the end is sticking out there. That's not it that you can see. That's actually a block on the tensioning, the compression strap. But there'll be some of that I'm going to have to cut off, which includes the hole that I drilled to hang the wood from. So there won't be any problem with that hole being in the actual banjo rim. That's about it.
So here's a shot of what's going to be the scarf joint when we take this out of the form, and you notice that I've marked it with a couple of witness marks so that I can make sure that it's compressed. It will spring back some, but it's not going to spring back so far that you can't bring it back into where it's supposed to be.
Cooling the bent wood is about the easiest step. There's really nothing to show, just leave the rim clamped in the form a day or two. But if you need to remove the rim and reuse the form immediately, remove it and clamp it with the witness marks matching to retain the same diameter to which it was bent.